Hi, and welcome back to New World in Making. Today, I'm here to explain a bit about my background story. Why did I decide to actually start this podcast? Because I figured that it's not quite fair for me to ask everyone why they do what they do and how they came to the place they are in today if I never really shared why I'm here and why I'm doing this podcast. So I thought I would do a little series of explaining why I came to this place and also learning from all the experts that I've been interviewing so far. And yeah, understanding a bit deeper what is happening and how we are managing this transition. What can we do? And in fact, there are lots of things that we actually can do. So I was born in Valencia, Spain. My dad is Spanish, my mom is German. And I was diagnosed with a cancer when I was about 1 year old. And I overcame it after a year and a half of going through a lot of difficult, different situations. And I truly believe now, though, that that specific moment in life really made me and my family really understand um, or ask different questions and have a different perspective on life. And I believe that that's also part of the reason why I'm doing today what I'm doing here with the podcast and beyond. So that just as a little teaser, I would say. So I was raised in Germany most of my childhood. My mom and I moved to Germany, but I was still coming back to Spain to visit my dad and my Spanish family a lot. After completing high school in Germany, I moved back to Spain. And I've been here since then. Everything ultimately led me to study a master's in sustainable business and innovation. I really loved the master, I have to say. I really enjoyed everything that we were looking into, how we were bridging spirituality and business, how amazing it can be to work in an environment that doesn't only look into the profit aspect of companies, but also looks into the people and the planet. And just understanding that there is a way to do it holistically was beautiful to see that I was not by myself there, wanting to see that evolve and that there were a lot of different, more crazy people out there believing in this too. However, after completing the master's, I then went to look for a job because I thought, well, this is what is next, I would say. Just to get my feet on the ground and understand a bit more what this is all about. I had done previously started my own company as a hospitality consultant, and I was helping little hospitality businesses to build the space, the brand, menus, hire all the employees, have motivated teams, all that. However, I really saw that it was kind of difficult for small businesses to really invest in more sustainable practices, such as really, really good salaries for their employees, high quality products such as organic, regenerative agriculture, ingredients, and so forth and so on. Thinking, okay, maybe in bigger companies, they are more likely to invest in sustainability practices. I thought maybe with more capital at hand and less personal risk involved, it would be easier. Well, I then went out into the job search and I thought, okay, now I'm going to find something really, really nice. Something where the jobs are also going to be very innovative themselves, even. And just every time I would go into a interview process, it would just not feel right. Um, and I just didn't know what to do, to be honest, because I was just feeling super lost and scared. And um, I was very confused because at the same time, I was just thinking, well, why is it so hard that we are not finding those ways to be truly sustainable, to make it easy and the default sustainable for everyone, for the planet, for the people working at those organizations, for the customers. Um, why is this not the default? Why is it always such a hard sell? Why is it always coming at such a high cost? Why is it that we are, if we're asking for flexible hours, it feels like we are kind of a privileged princess asking for, I don't know what. So I don't know, it was just such a confusing moment and where I really asked myself so many questions. So I was really, okay, how do we make sense of all this? Because I can't be the only one with these questions. And I was then starting to really look into the foundational systems of everything. So I always came back to money because it was always the same thing. I was always considering and asking myself and reflecting on the problem always is money. The why we're not doing any sustainability work is not because people don't see that it's nice to have and it's important and it's something that this world needs. On the contrary, people are like, yes, this sounds great. It's beautiful. It's great. We need to move into that direction because otherwise this planet is gonna collapse and people also are in need for good salaries and all that. But yeah, at the end of the day, what really was always a problem was money. So I was like, okay, even what I learned in my master's that, well, you just go in there into a um, business negotiation and try to convince the company to invest in a regenerative or sustainable project. Um, because in the long run, it's going to be actually very beneficial for the business. However, I realized that no one is really interested in long term. No one is interested in the long term. Everyone wants the benefits for basically, if possible, yesterday. And I really started to question all this. And this is how I went back to one book that I had read before my master's called The Price of Tomorrow. The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth, which I had the amazing honor to have him come to the podcast. He wrote this book about why it is that we are seeing such inflation all the time when in fact we should actually be seeing that prices would fall. With all the technology now being developed, with everything working way more efficient, with AI now making it so much more efficient to work, why are we not seeing that reflected in the prices? And it kept me thinking, I was like, yeah, that's so true. We should actually see things becoming cheaper and not more expensive. It should actually be easier to live and not be harder. So this is how I got interested in the economic systems. really what is the foundation of how inflation works, why we have so much debt. What about that debt? What are we doing with that? So I started to ask these questions, and I then got very interested in not just the economic system, but also in Bitcoin and what that means for a new change. So with all that, I started to do a lot of research, and not just there, but also just asking myself, okay, why is so much change happening right now? What is happening? Like, what does AI mean? What is happening with all the wars? Why do we have such geopolitical tension? Why is Gen Z seen as so lazy? And at the same time, I'm already struggling to find a job that makes sense to me and also paying me a dignified salary, as well as giving me some freedom and flexibility, and is allowing me to actually do something that really is truly meaningful. So I had so many questions. And together with all that, I was also wondering, okay, so how does that all make sense within this world where I'm feeling that consciousness is rising, that we are asking very different questions nowadays, that we are having way deeper relationships nowadays, that we are able to be way more honest and um yeah, just feeling more our feelings, emotions, fears, everything that's in there to just yeah, evolve and make life just more pleasant and joyful and fulfilling. So all that was coming up in those months of despair and not knowing and not understanding and just being like, what the heck is going on? So I thought, okay, maybe I should actually start a podcast where I bring in all these experts that I've been learning from here and there, just listening to a podcast here, reading a book there, and just combining them all together. And I was like, okay, what if I created that space and brought them all together? And I don't keep just everything that I'm learning to myself, but everyone around me. So that was the introduction to why and how I came to do this podcast. I will continue part 2, 3, 4, 5.